Welcome back to the first of the worst podcast. I hope you have your tinfoil hat and vaccines for all worldly ailments.
He's Brendan Murphy, and I am Steve Arendes.
I have never gotten the introduction right anyway.
That's part of the tradition of this podcast.
That's part of the charm.
It's going to get weird here today.
Our list, as you know, we do a list of 10 bad things. If this is the first time you listen to this podcast, that is wonderful. But I don't think for many of you it is. So just to explain what we do list of 10 things that are bad.
Yeah.
And the best of those lists.
And this week we're going to talk about conspiracy theories.
And I would say that some of the feedback I've gotten from my friends is sometimes our lists aren't actually bad things.
No, this one's bad.
Conspiracy theories are bad because and I'm going to ask you in a second about this, although I actually believe some of mine, all of these are theories in spite of overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
So they're all like bad things, and it's like if they're true, they're still bad. A lot of them.
I mean, my number one is probably the worst thing that ever happened in history in my mind. I mean,
I kind of know where you're going.
It's not even September 11th.
Neither of those made my list, by the way. So I don't know how I ranked. I ranked kind of just on like how I really don't know like whether they're my favorite or not. That's not like how big of a conspiracy theory they are. Once again,
I mean, some of these have tragic outcomes that we're not. Yeah. As we've had to do on several other podcasts, we're not endorsing the outcome, but it is kind of just for me, it was just kind of my interest in the theory.
Yeah. I totally agree. And some of the I think each one time we list a theory, we should rank 0 to 10. What our odds, like how true we think it is.
Okay. So approximately how many on your list do you believe? I got about
1 for sure. No, actually 2 for sure. 2 for sure. I believe.
I got about 4 or 5 that I definitely would be like at least 40%.
Oh yeah.
Confident that they happen. I mean, I got like 5 that I think are absolute bullshit.
So yeah, I have some too. Before we even get into this, so I was researching. I went down some rabbit holes right now, man. I'm in a weird mind. I'm in a weird mindset.
Yeah, you should see Steve. He looks like Nosferatu right now. He's got his hood up. He hasn't shaved in weeks, which is just kind of normal for you.
But I found. Did you find any of the lists about conspiracy theories that were proven true?
I didn't go into those because I didn't really consider them conspiracy theories anymore.
But I just want to list them all. Some of these crazy ones. There was something called Project MK Ultra, which was they brainwash people in America back in the day. I think the Ministerial Goats is something about that. That movie. There was also the government poisoned alcohol during Prohibition that killed 700 people to keep people from drinking it. There was something called Operation Northwoods where the U.S. government planned to kill
Operation Northwoods was crazy. I did see that.
Except they didn't actually do it.
Because it was going to be brutal. It was going to be self-imposed terrorist attack.
Yeah, to make it think the Cubans did it. Except they proved that those plans existed, but they never did it.
That is actually the basis of like any 9/11 conspiracy theory.
Exactly.
That happened.
And then in the 90s, they proved that the CIA smuggled cocaine into America.
That one definitely happened.
We're going to sound crazier and crazier as this goes on. I'm so excited about it. There's so many. I had like a list of like 30 things I had to cut down to 10. So I hope we already know you were going to talk about 2 that I didn't, but I specifically left some off that I kind of thought you would put on. Okay. So let's just fire it up. Go.
All right, so I'm going to start mine with actually a couple of sports-related ones. And the number 10 is just happened this week, and I am pretty confident that this happened. I don't know if this will go down as one of the 10 greatest conspiracy theories of all time, but it is pretty funny and interesting. It's that the Rams drafted Michael Sam with basically an NFL protection / blackmail. It was a deal. Part A was they would not have to go on a Hard Knocks, and part B was that no one would draft the guy they actually wanted to draft.
So in case you don't know, Michael Sam was the guy who a couple years ago who came out of the closet before the draft. Right, but apparently he wasn't that good, and it was going to look bad if he didn't get drafted.
All true, yeah.
So that's a great conspiracy theory.
Now, that being said, I do think he might not have been given as much of a shot as other guys. I don't know if that's because he's gay.
So
it's more because of the circus would be my.
So 0 to 10, how true do you think that conspiracy theory is?
Like 7.
7. I'm a little lower. I think maybe like 3, but I definitely think there's a chance. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You're right. The evidence would say probably not.
All right.
So, and the Dallas Cowboys then did sign him after that.
Yeah, that's true, which they didn't need to do. So I have my 10 and 9 are both clumped up ones. 10, I just have this musicians, and this is Tupac and Elvis being alive and Paul McCartney actually being dead.
Yeah, I have that one a little higher on the list.
The Paul McCartney one. We could talk about
all
it
of
later.
them, all 3 of them.
Separately, you have them?
I just called it dead people making music. All 3 of them are one. Those obviously go together.
Yeah, the Paul McCartney. I didn't even know about the Paul McCartney being alive.
I didn't either, but it was like any of these lists you looked at of conspiracy theories, it was one of the top ones.
It really was. I never heard of it. Apparently, so in case you don't know, like apparently the theory is he died in a car accident in 1966, right?
I didn't remember. Yeah, I mean that's the crux of it.
And then they just replaced him with a guy who looked like him, who apparently is a really talented musician. Which
I don't know. Have you heard Wings?
I don't really think these are true, any of them. I would rank it like 2 out of 10 that even one of them is true.
Oh yeah, 0 out of 10.
All right, and my number 9 is another clumped up one, and it might be around your 9 too because it's a sports one. And I just call this the David Stern NBA conspiracy.
Oh, that is my number 9. Just basically the NBA cheats and shit.
The David Stern
the believability, you have to break this up into separate things, right?
Yeah. So first one, let's start with the Patrick Ewing draft. That David Stern, either back in the day, the draft lottery it was envelopes in like a tumbler, and he would pull out the winner. He would pull them out to destroy the draft order. You wouldn't know who was in the envelope. The theory was, in order to get the New York Knicks, who are like the biggest market in the NBA, the best player, Patrick Ewing, he either froze that envelope to make it cold so he can identify it, or he dented it. Right?
I heard that it was folded.
See, I think there's like I give this a 9 out of 10 that happened.
Also, it's already its own conspiracy because the lottery was that every team had the same chance, which it now has changed drastically.
Yeah, but I like that old way, except for the fact that he can actually touch it with his hands.
I think that part I think probably happened.
The other big one is that Michael Jordan was suspended when Michael Jordan retired for the first time. If you remember, he was pretty young when that happened. He retired for the first time. He was actually suspended for gambling, but they didn't want it to get out.
The only people that believe that one are Knicks fans.
I give that one. I think I give that one a 4 out of 10.
Oh, so you think it's possible?
Oh, I think it's totally possible. Well, why would he retire? You could make a better argument that happened that a guy that young, that good at basketball retired.
His dad was murdered.
Yeah.
I mean, he was distraught. That did lose a little steam when he came back as a baseball player, however.
Exactly. And
I actually saw Michael Jordan hit a double at Wrigley Field.
Did he hit a home run in one of those games? No.
No. But it was awesome. It was like the greatest, because at that point in my life, he was the greatest person alive.
Yeah. I totally have Michael Jordan baseball.
I loved the White Sox, and I was just like, this is amazing.
Totally have a Michael Jordan baseball card. So that was your number 9?
Yeah, I mean, also that just generally the NBA has the refs kind of throw games to get, like the 2000 Lakers over the Blazers, and the Lakers over the Kings and the Bucks over the Sixers. There's some terrible NBA officiating.
Knicks Bulls.
You think you think the Knicks got screwed? Because I think that they got away with a ton of shit against us over the years.
No, I think the Bulls got screwed after Jordan retired.
Oh yeah, definitely the Hugh Hollins thing.
That's what they would want the Knicks to win, especially post Jordan, and especially if they suspended Jordan.
Yeah, that's true. Pippen was so good that year.
Yeah. All right. So what's your number 8 then?
My number 8 is the Shadow Authors.
Is this
One that
Shakespeare?
That Shakespeare was someone else. His name was like Jeff Bacon. I made that up, but it's something very everyman. And the other one, and this I've only heard from my English teacher in high school, but if you read the book, it does kind of make sense that Mark Twain's wife wrote the second half of Huck Finn.
Okay.
Because it's just completely different vernacular.
So somebody else wrote it in some way or something.
That's the theory there.
How much do you believe those?
I believe those pretty strongly. I mean, Shakespeare seems a little more plausible. Here's the thing. The farther removed you are from something happening, the more likely it is.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't the scrutiny that there is today.
Yeah, it would have been really easy for Shakespeare not to be Shakespeare. To be
Yeah.
like some fake thing. Right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I'm at like a 5 since
Okay.
I've combined those two.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds about right to me. All right. So then are we now on my number 8? Because we our 9s were the same. So then we're back on my
Yeah, we're on your
All
number
right.
8. Sorry.
All right. The earth is still flat.
Hey, this came out like this war is still being waged.
The Flat Earth Society. Go to their website. So
B.O.B. went after NTG or NGT. I always get it wrong.
Rapper B.O.B. made a diss track for Neil deGrasse Tyson, claiming the Earth was still flat. And okay, this is where one of the rabbit holes I went down into, and this was the Earth is still flat people. So let's say I'm trying to convince you the Earth is still flat. What would be your arguments against it?
What would be my arguments against the Earth being flat?
Yeah, prove it. Prove the Earth's round.
That is hard. I will say it's hard for me to prove that.
You've been to space? Oh, whatever. Fisheye lenses.
What I have at my disposal, it's very difficult.
Have you
For me to prove
do
that.
planes fly over Antarctica?
Do they?
No,
Why not?
because the Earth's flat and it's the edge of the Earth.
Okay. Are you sure about that?
That the Earth's flat? No, I'm very sure it's not.
That planes don't fly over Antarctica.
Commercial planes sure don't.
Well, obviously.
Why not? What if you had to fly from South Africa to Australia? Why wouldn't you just fly right over Antarctica?
I
That's the
honestly
fastest
don't know.
way. People
You're
fly
raising
over.
some good points.
Planes fly over like the North Pole. Just saying. Look at the UN. Look at the UN's logo. What is the UN's logo? A flat Earth.
That's because it can't be three-dimensional.
But why are they showing the whole thing on it? Why isn't it just one half of the Earth?
Because it's the United Nations. You can't exclude members.
Well, you can't exclude them because the Earth's flat and that's what it actually looks like, and they know. And Antarctica is the edge of the Earth all the way around. I don't believe this for a second. I was just taking.
No, but you're doing well.
I told you I went deep into this rabbit hole.
Here's the thing. If you're not... I don't want to sound like a global warming denier, but I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
However, I'm not going to sound like a global warming, but I'm going to listen to scientists.
I'm going to say 0 is my rating.
0, I would go with.
I'm just saying, it's a crazy one. All right. Number 7 for me. Jesus had kids.
That's up higher on my list.
Okay.
I find it super interesting.
It's super interesting, and we can talk about it more when we get to your list. But I very much believe it. Okay, we'll talk about it more when we get to it.
Because I think it's one of the more compelling ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're going to have a lot of overlap. So if you want to go over this now, that's fine.
Okay. So what the theory is, basically Mary Magdalene. Everybody knows about Mary Magdalene, right?
This is my number 3, by the way.
Okay. So was she a prostitute? I don't think she was. They want you to believe she's a prostitute, right? But she was really just like his girlfriend or companion or whatever.
Which really is strange that they want you to believe that.
That he was like this like virginal like person. I don't know. But why would he be? And
Well,
like,
they would want you to believe that he was a prostitute because, I mean, historians, seems to be a consensus that those two were romantic.
Yeah, but like not in the Bible. But there's like these apparently these other Bible verses that were discovered, and it's all in them or something. I don't know.
This is a large part of the plot of the Da Vinci Code I learned as I was reading this.
By the way,
today.
I've read the Da Vinci Code, so yes, I know.
I saw the movie of the second one, and it was horseshit.
Oh, the books, I know there's like not like highbrow stuff, but they're pretty good. I read them on trains when I was commuting.
The only thing I like about them is that they angered all these crazy ass Opus Dei people.
Yeah, they're nuts.
They're like, that is a book full of lies, as opposed to the book I like.
Yep. But yeah, so yeah, and then the theory is if he had this like wife-like figure, why wouldn't he have kids? But apparently, like him having kids like throws a whole kink into Christianity for some reason, which I don't understand.
Which I don't get. I guess here's what I think. I mean, since we're all like God's sons and he's God's son and all this shit, if he had actual sons, that might throw things off.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe that's
then you're God's grandson.
I feel like if it like was people making this up today, they would just be like, fine, he had kids. It's more realistic. Make him a normal person.
Oh, dude, that would totally change some shit.
Then you'd have like people like who are the people who are related to him, and in like the Da Vinci Code or whatever, angels and demons or whatever, whichever one it is, they're like running shit behind the scenes, whatever. That part I don't believe, but I believe did Jesus have a romantic relationship and possibly kids? Like 9 out of 10.
I got it at like a 7.
It's not. I don't even think it's, and I don't understand what's wrong with it. That's the thing that I don't understand why they would have to hide it. All right. So then, what is your 7?
Well, my number 8 is actually. Oh, it's my number 7. Pardon me, I misnumbered. It is that the moon landing was fake.
Oh yeah, I have that as my 3. The moon landing being fake is it's pretty good.
Here's my number 1 reason I don't think it's true is because this was a hyper competitive thing internationally.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the Soviets would not have put all of their efforts into exposing this were it to be a fraud.
That's a great point. Like, why wouldn't the Soviets have been like, yo, this is just clearly bogus, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the production value wasn't great, so I could see some of that as fodder for conspiracy.
Yeah.
Like any asshole could have shot that stuff anywhere.
Not back then, though.
Really?
I don't know. Does that? I mean, I saw it, but like a lot of these things where people like
grainy footage feels like something that could be done on a soundstage.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but not any asshole is what I'm saying. Like you have to have like professionals.
Yeah, I mean, like this would
like
but
now, like I could do a better job.
This is in an era where our government was talking about blowing up airliners to blame it on Cuba.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like someone was like, "That's not like the first idea I ever heard. Let's show it to the president." It might not fly, but we at least gotta get the big man's opinion.
Let's give it a shot. Yeah, moon landing fake. That's a classic. And that's also just a classic conspiracy theory.
Just in general, there's a lot of science denying here.
Oh yeah, science is the enemy. Yeah. So what's your number? What's your number 6?
It would be fake animals. Who actually Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster?
No, I totally didn't even think about that.
But just generally, I'm sorry. Where am I going with this?
Fake animals.
Fake animals. Oh, yeah, this is still possible because there's a lot of animals we don't know about. It is weird how the Loch Ness Monster seems much less probable. That is like a creation for tourism. But hey, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it's just here's the thing about fake animals. I don't think there's like these human-sized beasts that we've never discovered, like in North America.
In North America, but they could be somewhere in like the millions of acres that have never been traversed by a human being in Africa or, Siberia.
Yeah, it's possible. There's weird stuff out there. But I'm going with like, if you're saying specifically like Bigfoot,
These two specifically, I would
I go,
probably
like-
say are unlikely, like a 3.
no, I go lower, like 0 for Loch Ness, 1 for Bigfoot.
Okay. I mean, maybe 3's a little high.
All right. My number 6 is that the entire world is being run by a small group of individuals in an Illuminati New World Order type scenario. It actually ties in with my number 5. So, I mean, this theory is basically that there's like these like rich people, powerful people pulling the strings behind everything. They like kind of run all the governments, rig elections. It's all them behind the scenes. And this ties in with my number 5, which is the Great Reptilian Conspiracy.
Yeah, I have that on my list too. It's actually my number 2. But I call it something different. And it's kind of just a subtext of all of these theories.
It's the craziest. It's the reptilian conspiracy is basically like all of these things are from under this reptilian conspiracy, which is basically there's these reptile like aliens that can shape shift into looking like people, and they're responsible for all this shit.
And some people, not me, believe that they are Jews, that they are lizard Jews who control the world.
Borat
and other comedians.
I never pieced that part together until just now. Borat saying that. But yeah, the reptilian. It's okay. So
It's fucking hilarious.
Reptilian conspiracy is a 0 out of 10. Illuminati New World Order, I give that 2 out of 10.
Okay, here's the thing. All the rich people do control the world.
Yeah.
It's just not this concentrated and this overt.
Exactly. That's and this
is just like a bigger super PAC is what they're saying.
I was reading stuff about the reptilian conspiracy, and they're like, the Clintons are definitely, the Bushes are definitely these aliens. Bob Hope was one. I love when they just throw in like famous people like that too. Jay-Z and Beyonce. Like
it's just like anyone who was famous in their era.
Yeah. That's great.
Andy Griffin and Charlie Chaplin and
yeah,
Harriet Tubman. These are all reptiles.
People. You could only be one of the most famous people if you were this reptilian alien. That's it. It's the only way.
Although sometimes when people get famous, you're like, I don't know how they did this. You got to admit that.
Hey, it's true. What's your number 5?
This is something that a man who might be our president was very persistent in following up, and that is Obama is not an American.
Obama is not an American.
Obama is Kenyan.
Like was born in Kenya.
Was born in Kenya.
Right, because he's
what I love about this is that Ted Cruz was actually born in Canada.
Yes.
That's just factual. And there's like a 15% chance he could be president. Yeah, I know all politicians, and Ted Cruz wasn't an overt truther or anything. I don't believe, although he's pretty crazy.
I'm pretty sure he's dropped it a couple times. Like, I'm pretty sure he's at least been like, let's see the birth certificate or something like that.
Oh, he's definitely probably insinuated that he's Muslim. Like, that's like the B team version of this theory.
Yeah, that's just like, I don't want to go all in on it, but let's just call him Muslim.
Which is still incredible. I don't want to say it's insulting. It is insulting that that's a bad thing. Like, they should just be like, Obama's an atheist, because he probably is.
I'm surprised just like
that would be what they should go ham on. Is be like, I think he's bullshit on religion.
So let's, speaking of religion, let's say there's a Trump Sanders head-to-head election. At what point is like Trump just like, he's a Jew, right? And then like, because that totally appeals to his base.
Like day one. He says, whatever. He's like a divorced dad who has no repercussions because he has the kids on the weekends. So he can say whatever he wants.
and then just like go back on it a week later.
Yeah, and then a week later, no one really remembers.
If you, it's terrifying. So that was your number 5?
Yeah. I mean, and I obviously don't think that's the reason I put it high is because it's somewhat topical. Also, it is a great barometer for if someone's an idiot. I would also put the anti-vax on there.
I didn't put that on my list, but yes, that's another just like moron.
My mom is like kind of, she's not for all vaccinations.
What does that mean?
I don't know exactly, but I'm guessing I haven't had all the vaccinations when I was a kid.
You're not allowed around my kids.
I did have a cousin who was autistic, and this was, the early 80s, and I bet that theory had a little bit more,
I bet he was vaccinated too. Because look at that. That's a rare one. Sorry, I only said he because of the percentages.
It is. Is it more common with autism too? I know it is with Down syndrome.
Very much with autism. Very much. But well, yeah, of course they were because everybody
autistic. And I mean, at that time, I think that type of theory was just kind of a nascent theory.
It was maybe like the guy had written that book or whatever, and it was before he was like, "Oh yeah, this is bullshit," and then everybody forgets that now.
Yeah,
not everybody, but those people who think that.
Well, now like the best scientist is Jenny McCarthy.
Oh, do you remember the Republican debates when like Trump was like, I don't think that, but I think maybe we should make the vaccinations smaller and spread them out more. And then Ben Carson was like, maybe. I'm like, dude, you're a doctor. Shut up.
Ben Carson's one of the great moments was when they did like a tour of Ben Carson's house, and there was just a picture of him chilling with Jesus, like a painting.
Jay Pharoah's Ben Carson is the best thing on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you've seen him do it this year.
I mean, just generally, the presidential impersonations have been pretty strong.
His Ben Carson is clearly just playing up his Jerry Pharoah's probably belief that Ben Carson's gay and hiding it.
Yeah, which is poorly.
Which is just clearly what he's going for, and it kills me every time. Just kills me. It's my.
So we're watching The Wire. Ashley and I are, and in season 4, they put all the kids in like the OC class.
Oh yeah.
And one of them's like, I want to be a pediatric neurosurgeon like that one motherfucker. And then this is like 2004, and the guy's like, Dr. Albert Hopkins, because in 2004 he was like revolutionary.
Yeah, because he's very good at one thing.
That's a hard thing to be good at. In fairness, I'm not saying I'd vote for him.
To be fair, yeah, it is, and it's
even harder to be good at than like playing basketball.
Yeah, it might be harder to be good at than being president. I don't even know. It might be, but he definitely.
We've had a lot of shitty presidents, so you don't know. There's not a lot of famous shitty neurosurgeons.
They would probably be pretty famous if they were really bad at it. So wait, was that your number? Where are we right now?
5.
5. Okay, cool. So then, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is we've actually done basically my next 3.
Okay.
My number 4 is Dead People Making Music.
Dead People Making Music. Dead People Making Music is great.
I mean, here's the thing. Rappers do record a ton of shit. And I think that people have realized that more since Tupac died.
Yeah.
Because you'll see like how prolific so many rappers are.
Well, because a lot of them like they freestyle or whatever, and then they like just hear a beat and they just do it, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't really a song, so it's just there somewhere and some recording."
There is a kind of funny parallel to Tupac in indie rock, folk rock and roll music, and that's Jeff Buckley, who has released a ton of he was just in the past 15 years probably done like 3 albums of unreleased studio material of his have been released.
Yeah. Kendrick Lamar he's not dead, but they just released he just had like 8 songs and they just released it. It's like, and they're all just titled like untitled 1 through 8. Like he's like, whatever, I'll just put them on the internet. Like, Like they have these guys. It's probably not just rappers. It's probably all kinds of musicians. They have this music that they recorded, and they're just like, I don't want to put it on an album. Apparently, Adele made an entire album. This album she put out, she made an entire album like a year ago or two, and was like, I can't put this out
because she thought it was bad. That's the thing.
Oh, because I heard it's because it wasn't on her brand.
What? I didn't hear that. I just assumed that's why.
She's the most like on brand conscious like celebrity there is. And it was about like having a kid. The album was.
I hate Adele so much.
She's so like you never see her not like completely dressed perfect. Blah 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 blah. She's very rehearsed and very proper in how she does things and very thought out. She has a good voice though. So there it is. My number 4 is that Eisenhower knew Pearl Harbor was going to happen.
I did see that one on there.
And the theory is that America needed to get involved in World War II to stop the Nazis and everybody. And basically, like he was warned of this attack from some intel. And just let it happen so that he could get in and kick some ass.
Well, George Bush did that too. That is factual. That part is factually accurate.
I give this one a 5 out of 10. 50% chance this happened.
Well, being warned about it and then like he could be warned. You're warned about a lot of shit that never happens as president, even in those days.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Like, okay, so Bush saw a memo that said Bin Laden determined to attack in the U.S., and that's what has been kind of the smoking gun of him being incompetent. But there are so many of those memos that I'm sure we see, that I'm sure that they see.
Yeah.
That like they probably lose their urgency.
Like again.
You're like, I'm trying to stop this guy. I don't really know what else I can do.
That's the word, like, especially because it's like people who are elected president aren't in a long time aren't like military people.
No.
like they're not like military strategists. They're just like dudes who are politicians.
They're usually lawyers.
Yeah. Usually lawyers, right? Or just like
or have a law degree at least. Actually, that might not be true.
Obama's a lawyer.
The Democrats are the lawyers.
What if Obama said you better accept my he was like, hey, this is who I'm putting on to the Supreme Court, because if you don't, Hillary's putting me up and you're all fucked. Because he's a lawyer.
Well, there have been some there's been some, I mean, in the past there have been people that were pretty prominently politically prominent that were considered candidates. I think Alberto Gonzalez was.
Yeah. What if he was like, yeah, I'm going to put myself up?
I mean, he wasn't president of the United States.
He was like a pretty big time lawyer.
He was a constitutional law professor at one of the preeminent law institutions in the country. I mean, he's definitely qualified to be a Supreme Court justice.
That would be amazing. He's totally in the I don't give a fuck stage too.
Here's the thing: this guy they're putting up, this Merrick, whatever, he basically was like Chief Justice of the thing below the Supreme Court.
Yeah, he's like the.
It's like the most logical call up you could make.
Oh, they're not even going to vote on it.
It's like you were a feature actor in an HBO show. Now you're starring in an HBO show. Happens all the time.
So do you think they ever get to a point in this like election cycle where like it gets to the point and it's like Trump versus whoever? We'll say Trump and Hillary because they're leading right now.
That's definitely happening.
Trump versus Hillary, and like the polls are basically like Hillary's murdering Trump, and they're like, okay, we better put this guy up because if we don't, she's just gonna do so. She's gonna put somebody way more liberal than this dude up.
Oh, the whole thing right now that everyone's saying is if Hillary wins, they'll just put this guy up in the lame duck section.
You think that's what they'll do?
That's like what everyone's saying will happen. So if Hillary doesn't win, then they're just going to block it.
Okay.
They're just disrupting judicial process. They're just Government not happening.
That's what you do. That's what senators do though.
Congress is terrible.
It's what all congressmen's job is.
And Senate is actually way worse than Congress because Senate they have 6-year terms and it's not representative of the people. It gives Montana equal weight to California.
I get it though. I get both sides of it. But like Marco Rubio just did nothing for 6 years basically. They ran for president. And then couldn't do anything because he was running for president. It's great.
I mean, there really aren't repercussions for not being there.
You still get paid. Did you see the thing?
I would like to see like what percentage of votes,
I saw
95% of senators are there for.
I saw something on John Oliver show, and they had videos, and apparently this is like commonly done that like when people aren't there. I don't know if this was at the. It might only be at the state level where this is allowed, and maybe it was happening in the House too, where people aren't there. That the guy sitting next to them will just hit their vote.
Who hits their vote?
Like somebody sitting next to them. So
Jesus Christ.
And there was literally video of like 3 people racing to hit a guy's vote that wasn't there. It was amazing. It's terrifying. Because they just vote on like these buttons. It's not like there's no like password. It's great and terrifying.
Yeah, it is. We used to have class and
all right. So then are we on my number 3 then? That my number 3 is moon landings were fake, which we already talked about. So then what is your and we already talked about your number 3 as well?
We talked about basically all mine but number 1.
All right. Well then okay, yeah. So then what was your 2 just to recap before we
the reptile Jews.
Okay.
Or the lizard people running the world.
Okay, well I don't know how you don't have one of my final 2 on here. My number 2 is the JFK assassination.
Okay. That would probably be coming up for me. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll just skip it then and wait till you do it. Okay. My number 1 is that Area 51 is just a housing of aliens, and there was no.
I'll admit I kind of forgot about it. I mean, I had it on my list. I'm looking at my pre-list.
Yeah.
Yeah, Area 51's a good one. I mean, I'm pretty cool with all mine that made it, though.
Yeah, I got some good ones that didn't make it too. Area 51's my number 1. I think that'd be the
obviously
thing.
the reptile thing is the least plausible on a list of very implausible things.
Area 51 is I think the thing that would like alter if it came out would like alter people's like perceptions the most, and still has like an actual slim chance of being true. Like obviously the reptilian.
Why would it be such a secret? Like, what's the rub in keeping it secret?
I don't know, man. Maybe we're still in communication with the aliens.
It would have to be something like that, yeah.
Maybe they're feeding us intel, weapons, technology. Steve Jobs, probably an alien.
It would explain his fashion sense.
Yeah, that actually wasn't clothing. That was just like his skin. His skin was black turtleneck dad jeans, New Balance. Like that was his skin. So then is your number 1 the JFK assassination?
Yeah. Even as recently as like a couple years ago, John Kerry was like, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty unlikely that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. So there are still people in prominent positions who are like, there's something weird. I will say that more evidence favors that he acted alone than that he didn't.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people just believe. I've never gone deep into it. I just put it on the list because it's like one of the biggest conspiracy theories of all time. I'm not a JFK truther.
It could go either way. It is definitely. I mean, well, the big theory is that the bullet entered him and did things that a bullet would not naturally do.
Okay, so my wife has stood on the grassy knoll, and she's like 100% there was a second shooter. That's what she says. She's 100% certain there was a second shooter. She's also, when I was reading these off to her, she's also very assured that they knew about Pearl Harbor. I don't know where she got that from, but she's very
I didn't even know that was conspiracy. Most of these I was familiar with until today. I was like, oh, huh.
So just to mention some of the big ones that didn't make my list. And
Yeah.
these are all like, these four are just, I didn't put them on the list because they're such terrible things. The Holocaust never happened. Holocaust never happening. That's a huge conspiracy and just stupid because it obviously happened. 9/11 was an inside job.
There's a lot of documentaries on that on Amazon Prime. So many 9/11 truther documentaries on Amazon Prime.
My next one is the CIA administered AIDS to kill off homosexuals and blacks.
Okay, but we have to say that they did do crack. So
do we know that they did crack? We know they brought in cocaine. I don't know if we know that they did crack.
okay, so they brought in. I don't know if they. So probably not crack then, because cocaine was made into crack, right?
Yeah. But yes. So
And
it's
they didn't-
definitely. I think with that one, maybe like they could have done more about AIDS. Like maybe they.
Oh,
didn't
that's
invent
definitely true
AIDS.
of all politicians in that era. In the early
they could
80s.
have done more about it, but they just were like, it's affecting gay people and we don't like them, so let's just let it run its course.
Which is really fucked up.
It's super fucked up. It's terrible. Oh, and the other terrible one that didn't make my list was that the levees were blown up during Hurricane Katrina.
There was a bunch of Katrina shit that FEMA was intentionally negligent.
That they had like the coffins prepared for it. Did you see those pictures? It's crazy.
That it was. I mean, it totally wiped out bad New Orleans real estate and an undesirable part of the population.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, that is an effect. I don't believe that was the reason.
No. Yeah.
It was just we had a really shitty. Just really shitty leadership across the board in that time.
It was down there too, like at every level. It seemed like
New Orleans is like Illinois' big brother in political corruption. It's way worse. Louisiana, and obviously New Orleans isn't Louisiana, but Louisiana has had some shady politicians.
To be fair, I have 95% of my Katrina info comes from watching Treme.
Yeah, that's fact based.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of facts involved. I'm sure there's some spin there, but I'm willing to accept that as my Katrina information base.
No, I mean, it's fucked up. Half of the money for the disaster recovery efforts went to Mississippi and half of it went to Louisiana. When the damages
doesn't seem like an even split.
It shouldn't be. But Haley Barbour was like George Bush's biggest proponent. He was the governor of Mississippi. Obviously, a guy named Haley Barbour would be the governor of fucking Mississippi. Like, right.
There wasn't when you said Haley Barbour. Normally, I would think that's a woman but I knew you were talking about Mississippi, and I 100% knew it was a guy.
Guy, fat guy,
fat white man,
fat white dude.
Yeah, probably friends with who's that Republican?
Trent Lott.
Was Trent? Yeah, Trent Lott.
He said something really racist toward the end of it.
Haley Barbour reminds me of Lindsey Graham. That's who I'm picturing. It's just like another.
Because Haley Barbour and Lindsey Graham should be sorority sisters.
Exactly. I'm just picturing like another version of that dude. Like that's what I'm picturing.
Yeah, I mean Lindsey Graham might be gay. That's a big. I mean that's not a conspiracy theory, but like Lindsey Graham is toward the top of the list of people who are speculated as being gay. Somewhat famous people.
Oh, I mean, like, I don't want to out anybody, but yeah.
But it was pretty gay when we were having sex. Nothing straight about that.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know if the man's gay or not. Maybe he likes to go both ways. I don't know. But nothing would shock me there. That's all.
He and John McCain, they are close.
I mean, John,
you don't want me to insult the Maverick.
Don't insult the Maverick. And to be fair, he was in like a prisoner of war. You don't know. Your life changes when you're in prison, man. Especially prisoner of war in prison. All right, man. Has been an interesting trip down the rabbit hole.
It is. We kind of just went. We made this our own personal Google.
Yeah. It was a weird couple days of me looking up conspiracy theories. You could get lost if you look up any of these. You can get lost.
The internet is made for that shit.
Oh yeah, there's videos, man. There's like YouTube. YouTube has tons of this stuff. Just videos. And if you put a voiceover over some pictures, like you can convince some idiots
It's
some
powerful. That's essentially political advertising.
Yeah. The other thing that's powerful is like putting a quote under a picture with somebody's name next to it, which are all over Facebook, and like 50% of them aren't even true. It's like not what the person
There's this
said.
meme that goes on Facebook every time the lottery gets high of like the lottery is 1 billion is like, you know, $3 billion divided by 300 million Americans equals everyone gets $1 million. It's like, no, that's not how that works. The math is wrong every time.
And if you look at the comments,
Because the first time I saw that, I was like, what? I was like, that is fucked up. And then I was like looking at it, I was like, that's fucked up because that's not true.
and the
The
comments
lottery
are
has to
always
be $6 trillion for that to be true. Not
the
6
comments
billion.
are always like, people are like, yeah, this is messed up. We should all just split it. And then there's always like some like
And if it were like $1 million for every American, I would say that's pretty fucked up. But that's not what it is.
it's like $34.
It's just like someone did bad math and made a meme, and everyone's like, good point.
Do you think the person did bad math, or if I think it's a troll? Because they know I think somebody knows how Facebook works and knows that's 1,000 likes, million
It's
likes.
just like do 1 second to look at shit and think if it makes sense in your life.
Especially
That's
on
all it takes
Facebook.
is like any ounce of critical thought in your bone marrow. Use it and be like, that's fucked up. Yeah, because it's not true.
Like, I'm pretty sure if it was like $1 million a person, like America would come, there'd be like it'd be a big deal on the news. And the news would be like, yo, we should just split this, everybody.
I mean, like, hey, how about you give everyone $500,000 and keep half for yourself?
Yeah. Like,
A
hey,
lot of money.
exactly. And the world would be crazy right after that happened. It would be insane.
It would just devalue the currency.
It would be, you know what it would be like?
Realistically,
Do you remember
like,
that Chappelle show?
$300,000.
Do you remember the Chappelle show where they get you out reparations checks? It'd be like that, but with everybody. And that guy was like the second richest man in the world off a dice game in the alley. That's what it would be like, but it would be everybody. It would just be the craziest thing in the world.
I wish that actually did happen.
I don't even know what would happen. It'd be like anarchy. I think the smartest move would just be like, okay, what do you do? Everybody gets $500,000. What's your first move?
Maybe spend it right away because the currency is just going to get super devalued.
Like, just buy stuff.
Just buy like gold or whatever the thing is you're supposed to buy when the economy is about to crash.
But like, wouldn't gold adjust instantly? Like, the markets are like too efficient. But I think it maybe wouldn't adjust enough. You're right. It would get really expensive, but maybe it wouldn't adjust enough.
I don't know. Or stones like diamonds and shit.
Like, buy a company. No, that's not enough money to buy a company.
A shitty one. Could buy a bar. I've always wanted to buy a bar. Like, that's like a totally realistic thing to do with that amount of money.
Except I don't think it is. Like, once everybody has that amount of money, he can charge way more for his bar.
Yeah, well, then this scenario sucks because it's just things are just more expensive because everyone just has more money. That's what would happen, by the way, too.
Yeah, I think the move is to gamble and try to win. I think the key is to try to take other people's money. Or
So you're saying the dice game really is the move?
Maybe. Or you just hole up. You just hole up with that money. And like, the problem is food. Food's going to be so expensive. You just hole up with that money and like let other people blow it. I guess. I don't know, man. It's not a good situation.
We
You know what
probably
it's
aren't
like?
the economists people should rely on.
You know what
for
it's
this
like? It's like if
scenario.
everybody got free college and then your college degrees were worth nothing.
You know, As a guy who has 2 kids, I think you'd be in favor of the free college thing.
I am, but I also just feel like it's gonna make me pay for them to go to grad school. But I am in favor of it. But that's also what I think though would happen.
It's not entirely illogical.
Though I feel like it wouldn't totally happen for a long time. Like at first it would be awesome.
Like each level of education requires some amount of follow through and perseverance. And each notch you go up the ladder, there's less people that do it. That's just the reality. So more people would go to grad school, but it wouldn't be like colleges now.
Yeah, or just be like you got to go to a private school because like all of like the really good public schools would drop their rankings and stuff or whatever. I don't like their rankings would end up dropping. I don't know. Whatever. But you're right.
We're not going to have this problem.
I totally would love it if I didn't have to pay for my kids to go to college and they can get a good education without having to go into debt or whatever. All right, guys. Thanks again. This is my second. Thanks for going.
That was fun. We're probably off next week, but
yeah, decent chance. We'll see if we can squeeze it in, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. This is Brendan's last day recording the podcast while looking at the harbor.
The boats. I'm going out to sea, or maybe they're putting me on an ice float. Might be a better way to say it.
Viking funeral? What's going on? No, he's not dying. He's just moving. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and subscribe to us and like us on Facebook and all that good stuff. And thanks again for listening.
Yeah, come out to my comedy show next Thursday at the Beer Bistro.
Tell them the date in case they don't know.
Next Thursday, March 31st.
March 31st
at 8 p.m.
March 31st.
Azhar Usman. He opened for Dave Chappelle when Dave Chappelle was here in January.
That's pretty cool.
Come on out.
So if you're in town, you should check that out. Beer Bistro, if you haven't been there, it's a good bar.
It's 1061 West Madison, but I would Google that just to make sure.
It's a good bar. You'll have a good time.
It's a good bar.
Good beer. All right. Later.